Welcome back to Frederick Advice Givers. I am Eric Verdi, episode 161, and today, to my right, I have with me Naheed Mir with RugKnots, and she's got a very interesting story. And actually, how I met Naheed was my podcast producer, MK, just recently started working for her. So MK's been with me for about 4 years now, ever since we started the podcast, and she is doing social media marketing for Naheed now. So thank you for the introduction, MK. Naheed, nice to meet you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your backstory, your origin story. Where did you grow up? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
Yeah, so I actually, thank you first of all, Eric. I actually started in 91. I moved here from Pakistan with my husband, and we lived in New York for about 6 years. I went to school, both of us. He's a neurologist by profession, and so that's the reason we are living here where we are. Started RugKnots about 5 years ago. Wanted to, make a difference. What was happening was it's a family business, has been for generation, and I was giving a lot of charity. So when I was giving it in Pakistan, they were building schools. So I actually went. I think it was maybe 7 years ago. I went to one of the schools and I saw how much difference it was making. The money I was giving, the weavers who were, weaving the rugs, their kids were being educated. So that was a big thing for me. I said, you know what, I want to open online business here and see if I can contribute back to some of the schools there. Because for me, the biggest thing has been English medium education. For me to come in from day one and to do well has been because I was educated, I was English medium educated. So for me to come in as an immigrant and assimilate so easily and be successful was the key. And I wanted to give that kind of, same kind of thing back to the people or the girls in Pakistan.
So do you still have family in Pakistan?
Yes, everybody is in Pakistan.
Besides you and your husband?
Yes, one of my sisters lives here, but nobody else is here.
Do you have any children?
I have 4 kids.
Okay. How old are they?
24, 22, 17, and 11.
Any grandkids yet?
No.
No grandkids yet?
No.
Awesome. So RugKnots, so to explain what you do. Explain your company.
So basically, we are an online company. We have a warehouse where if somebody wants to walk in and buy from us, we'll do. But basically, we sell to New York, to California, to Florida, to interior designers. We sell online. And we have cut down the middleman. So we actually directly, get our rugs from Pakistan. So the prices that you see normally, which are $8,000, $10,000 are going to be $2,500 because we have cut down the middleman.
So you still have the contacts in Pakistan to get the product?
Yes, because it's family owned. So my brothers still own the factory.
Okay.
So yes.
Okay. And are you the only RugKnots location in the U.S. then?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So why did you choose this location to open your store? I mean, obviously an online business, you can do it from anywhere.
The reason I chose was because, it is so much near DC. And we lived here, and I just love the small town family values, and just because of that. Okay.
So, are they hand sewn, hand woven?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about, because we used to have, I guess when I was younger, we used to call them Oriental rugs. Is that correct? So,
yes.
So how do you describe your rugs?
So we actually do both hand tufted and hand knotted. So our hand knotted are where we use New Zealand wool. And we even hand spun. We don't even use machine to do the the spinning. So everything that you see is 100% New Zealand wool, naturally dyed, all natural fiber. Which in our hand knotted. So that hence it's, if you were in America and you made it, it would cost you about $200,000 to make a small 5x7 rug.
Oh, wow.
So that's why they normally make them in India, Pakistan, or China.
Okay. So the next 2 questions are meant to kind of loosen you up and give our audience a behind the scenes of who you are. So what's the last purchase that you or your husband splurged on for yourself or your family?
Actually, we went to Russia.
Did you really?
Yes.
When?
For the football game.
Okay.
For the,
For the World Cup?
World Cup.
Awesome.
It was awesome, yes.
So
Yes.
you were rooting, obviously, what you were rooting for Pakistan?
No,
Because US wasn't in it this year.
yeah, no.
Was
And
Pakistan in it?
no, they don't.
Okay.
No. So, but we are huge football fans, so we wanted to go and see Russia also,
Okay.
and it was easy to go. And it was, again, it was. I always say experiences make a difference. So I would rather not buy something expensive, but experience.
My wife and I totally live by the same premise that we'd rather spend our money on experiences that the kids are going to remember in the future. So did your 4 children play soccer growing up?
Yes.
Football growing up?
Yes.
Okay.
They played soccer, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me about yourself. So my question is what did you do? One thing that you have done, Spurge.
For myself, we've taken the kids to Disney.
Okay.
2 of the last, 3 years in a row, but 2 of the last 3 years. And my wife and I, a year ago, just actually this week, a year ago, we did a trip to Italy and a Mediterranean cruise around the Greek Isles with 2 other friends of ours. Now, in a few years, we'll probably take the kids with us, but it was nice. My kids are at the age when they could stay with the grandparents. They're 12 and 9 now. Okay. That it was nice that we could get away and know they were taken care of. Okay. But it wasn't. They're not old enough yet to go and actually enjoy it. But we will take the kids on experiences. Okay. So, thank you for following up with that question. Good one. So, what hobby or interest could you spend hours doing?
Learning.
Okay. So, how do you learn? What's the best? Do you learn by doing? Do you learn visually, or do you learn by reading?
I think I learn by YouTube and I tell the girls all the time, YouTube it. Mm-hmm. So I would say for me it's videos, mm-hmm. and then the other thing is reading.
Okay. Yeah, so I learn by trial and error. I watch a video and then deconstruct and figure out how they made that. That's why we're on the podcast here. Yeah. I had to go through a learning process of how do we do video first with Skype and MK. Do we use Camtasia? What software do we use behind the scenes to get the podcast out to the public? And then from that, the first time you do something, it's never going to be as good as the 10th time you do something. Exactly. But if you don't do that first time, you can't get better. Yes. Right? If you never start, you can't get better.
Yeah. So that's kind of similar. I have a similar philosophy, mm-hmm. what you have. I think the entrepreneurs, that's something very much similar. We kind of dive in and kind of figure things out.
Exactly. Figure it out as we go along.
Yes.
So Naheed, when you wake up in the morning, being an entrepreneur, what's inside you that drives you? Why do you wake up at 5 in the morning or work till midnight or doing orders and shipping out all over the country?
I think for me, being static equates to being dead. So if I'm not doing anything, I'm not learning anything, I'm not getting better, I might as well not do anything. So for me, that's most important. The other thing is my staff. I think if I have people who make a difference, I mm-hmm. feel that I am making a difference in their lives. Mm-hmm. I think that they are growing. It makes me feel very proud of all the learning I'm doing and then giving them that learning for them to do better in life also. Okay. So that's a big thing for me.
It is. Yes. It is. So what advice, being in here since 91 and having RugKnots, or the company, since the last 5 years, what advice would you give another entrepreneur that could be a shortcut to them?
There can never be any shortcuts in life. I wish I...
Okay, so what's a learning experience that you, looking back 5 years ago, if I would have done this, I would have gotten here quicker?
I would say that it would be learning. Okay. Learning the news, not relying on different people. I made tons of mistakes. I made every mistake that you can make. Not relying on other so-called consultants. Mm-hmm. You have to do your own learning. You have to understand. So for me, the biggest thing was online e-commerce. It's a beast. So learning different SEO, how to do on-page, off-page, Facebook, AdWords, learning all of that yourself. And then finding people to implement those are the keys to success.
So what percentage of your business is online versus people that come into the warehouse?
I would say 90% is online.
Okay. And where do you ship all over the world, all over the US?
It's all over the US. And mostly it's shipped like Florida, okay. New York, big California, Chicago. Those are some of the, okay. places that we ship.
So I'm on your website. and I have not been on your website yet, so
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. But I'm on your website, and I go through, and there are pictures of the product. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I click on the product. I pay you, obviously. How long until I get the rug shipped to my house?
I would say within 24 hours.
Okay.
We ship it. You, for example, you said yes online,
Mhm.
and we just went out to the warehouse. We shipped it
Okay.
the same day.
Okay, so within 2 days, I'll have the product, 2 or 3 days?
Yes.
Okay. So to follow up on my last question about the shortcut, what is maybe something that somebody told you, if you do this, this will happen, but it didn't turn out that way?
I think for me, the experience has been just the learning,
Mhm.
where a lot when I do not know a certain thing, and if somebody's telling me, I kind of listen to them, and
Okay.
I have tried to do that, and that has always come back to haunt me. So my lesson is for anybody, any entrepreneur, is you need to do your homework first
Mhm.
before you go and talk to somebody else. So if you're working with consultants, you're working with employees, you need to know that what you're talking about. You
Okay.
cannot rely on anybody else telling you.
So Naheed, what's one choice or decision that you've made in the last 3 years that's led you to where you are today?
I would say I decided that I was going to do it. I was going to burn my bridges
Mhm.
and was going to do it 100%, 110%. I was doing it as a hobby,
Okay.
and I was kind of feeling bad about the situation. I was like, I am not going to do this. I don't know how to explain it, but I was doing it half-heartedly,
Mhm.
and I was like, maybe when there's a right time, I'll do it 110%. And I decided that in this year that I am not going to do that. I'm going to go all the way in, and either I'm going to sink or I'm going to swim. And that was a decision that had MK working for me, other people. Did I make the right decisions when I decided? But I said no, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Right.
And that was my decision. And I said, learning, it will be dependent on me. And if I make mistakes, I'm going to not stop. The biggest thing, if you ask me, in the last 3 to 5 years have been the mistakes. When I make a mistake, I stop.
Right.
And I should not stop.
Yeah, I think you brought up two very good points there. One we talked about earlier is there's no mistake in business. There's no failure. And the acronym for FAIL is your first attempt in learning.
Yes.
Okay, that's the acronym for FAIL. So first attempt in learning. So when you do something, 90% of the time, it's not going to play out like you envisioned it playing out.
Mm-hmm.
In business, there is no linear line. Okay, you don't go from here to here.
Yes.
You go from here to here to here, back down to here, over to there, and you might eventually get to where you want to get to.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a beautiful answer right there, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. But you can't get to here if you never start.
Yes.
All right, so Naheed, I have sat across the microphone from 160 other entrepreneurs and business owners. I learn a lot by asking you questions. I want to flip the script and have you ask me a question. Now, we met 20 minutes ago, so it can be anything.
Yes. So my question for you is, you have met so many people,
Mhm.
160, I'm 161. My question is what is one thing that you see common in entrepreneurs? And then what stops an entrepreneur from growing? And then one thing, third question is a failure. What has been your failure that has stopped you from growing?
So one thing, common thread throughout, is entrepreneurs are willing to take risks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
By nature, we don't fit in the 9 to 5 box.
Yes.
Okay. You said something earlier, and you said you're always learning. I imagine retirement is not something that you are going to do, because you said if you stop moving forward, you're going to die.
Yes.
So most people look, I'll be 62, I'll be 58, I can retire when I'm 70. I don't ever want to retire, maybe do I want to scale back and have more life experiences,
Yes.
like you had talked about, and have other people kind of helping run whatever I've built.
Yes.
But I don't think I'll ever retire, and I don't think you're probably the same way that you'd ever retire. So not afraid to fail, moving forward. And then what was the third? What was the last question?
Your failure.
My failure, and this is something I'm still working on, is learning how to manage people. Okay, I am. I'm trying to get better every day at managing people and personalities, and being a better communicator. To communicate with my staff and the people around me, and I struggle with that. I struggle with communication. I think everybody thinks as I do, and as an entrepreneur and as a human, we all think differently.
Yes.
So how can I explain something to MK, to Rock, to Sumar, to Brittany that resonates with them?
Okay.
So it's my lack of communication skills, and that's probably stopped me from growing at a pace that I wanted to grow.
Okay. That's a good answer.
Good question. So what failure or loss has helped mold you? And this doesn't have to be business related, just who the person you are today.
Mm-hmm. It's always a tough one. I think any failure I've had, it's helped me to grow. Mm-hmm. So I've been blessed that way. So I don't think there has been any major failure that has helped me to take it to the next level. I think those small failures that I get on my way motivates me to get better. That would be the answer for me.
Okay. All right, before I wrap up, so being an immigrant, right?
Yes.
That always, it amazes me that amount of courage it takes to leave your family.
Yes.
And leave your country. You came over in 91, you said?
Yes, I was 20.
Okay, so 20, were you married at the time?
Yes, I just got married and I came after, I think, 6 days of marriage.
Okay, so
Yes.
you and your husband
Yes.
were planning to come to the U.S.?
Yes.
Did your husband get schooling to be a doctor in Pakistan, or was that?
Yes, in Pakistan, but he came here for residency because he was one of the smartest guys there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was very easy for him to come in here. So, he did his neurology residency here.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So, I mean, I imagine there's a lot of, you're probably scared, you're probably apprehensive. Had you been to the U.S.
No,
before?
I had not been to US. I'd been to Europe, but I had not been to US.
Okay, and your first place you came was New York?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that just, I couldn't imagine going halfway around the world to another country and just leaving. So kudos to you for having that heart and that drive. You know, and that's why, in my opinion, that's why immigrants have grown the U.S. You know, back in the 1800s and early 1900s, you know, people from Poland, Italy, Germany came, and it takes a certain entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
It's an entrepreneurial spirit.
Yes.
To leave what's comfortable.
Yes.
You know, that's why you don't fit into that 9-to-5 box.
Yes.
As an immigrant and an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, kudos to you. It's something I don't have the gumption to do. So I imagine I kind of know your answer to this. So where do you see yourself in 3 years and then 10 years?
I think learning, growing, having more employees,
Okay.
And making this company about a $10 million company.
Okay. Awesome. So final thoughts. Tell our listeners and viewers where we are, how do they find you, how do they order your product?
Go on RugKnots.com and you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram, www.RugKnots.com.
RugKnots.
Yes.
Right. And then do you also sell on like third party, or are you also on Amazon, or no?
No, we are not.
So you're direct to consumer?
Yes.
Direct to consumer.
Yes.
Awesome. Naheed, I appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
You did awesome. Listeners, viewers, I hope you enjoyed Naheed Mir at RugKnots episode as much as I did. What a wonderful woman. What a beautiful entrepreneur. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And we are out.